I never imagined that a simple outing with my friends would turn into a nightmare. It all started when we heard about a new escape room that had opened in our town. We had tried all the other escape rooms in the area and were excited to try this new one. It was called the Enigma Room, and it had a reputation for being the most challenging escape room in town. The owners claimed that it was impossible to escape from it without using all your mental abilities. We were up for the challenge, and we quickly made reservations for the next day. When we arrived, we were greeted by a creepy-looking building. The walls were old and weathered, and the windows were boarded up. The front door was heavy, and it creaked as we pushed it open. The inside of the building was just as creepy as the outside. The walls were painted black, and the lights were dim. The air was thick with the smell of musty old books. A man greeted us at the reception. He was tall and had a thin build. His face was expressionless, and his eyes were dark. He introduced himself as Mr. Smith, the owner of the escape room. He handed us each a waiver and explained the rules. He warned us that once we entered the room, there was no turning back, and we had to solve all the puzzles to escape. We signed the waivers without reading them and followed Mr. Smith into the room. The Enigma Room was unlike any other escape room we had seen before. It was huge, and the walls were lined with shelves full of old books. The floor was made of stone, and there were torches on the walls that flickered with an eerie light. The room had a medieval theme, and there was a large wooden door at the far end. Mr. Smith explained that we had 1 hour to solve all the puzzles and escape. He then closed the door and locked us in. As soon as he left, we got to work. The puzzles were challenging but solvable, and we quickly made progress. However, something felt off about the room. It was as if the room had a life of its own, and it was watching us. As we solved more puzzles, strange things started to happen. The torches on the walls flickered more violently, and the books on the shelves started to shake. We tried to ignore it and kept solving the puzzles, but the room seemed to be getting more and more agitated. We were on the verge of solving the last puzzle when everything went black. The torches went out, and we were plunged into darkness. We tried to turn on our flashlights, but they wouldn't work. We were trapped in the dark with no way out. As we stumbled around in the darkness, we heard strange noises. It sounded like someone was whispering, but we couldn't make out what they were saying. We tried to call out to Mr. Smith, but he didn't respond. We were alone in the dark with whatever was in the room with us. After what felt like hours, the torches flickered back on, and we saw that the room had changed. The shelves were now empty, and the books were scattered on the ground. The wooden door at the far end was now open, and we could see a faint light coming from it. We cautiously approached the door, unsure of what we would find on the other side. As we got closer, we heard a faint humming sound. We pushed the door open and saw a strange figure standing in the center of the room. The figure was tall and had a thin build, just like Mr. Smith. However, its face was twisted in a grotesque smile, and its eyes glowed red. It was humming a tune that sounded like it came from another world. We froze in terror, unsure of what to do. The figure turned to face us, and its smile grew wider. "Welcome to my realm," it said in a raspy voice. "I am the keeper of the Enigma Room, and you are my prisoners." We tried to run, but the door slammed shut behind us, and we were trapped. The figure started to move towards us, and we backed away, looking for a way out. But the walls had closed in, and there was nowhere to go. The figure reached us, and we could see that it was not human. Its skin was gray and leathery, and it had long claws instead of fingers. Its eyes glowed brighter, and we could feel its power overwhelming us. "We have solved your puzzles," one of my friends shouted. "Let us go." The figure laughed. "Your puzzles were just the beginning. The real challenge is to survive in my realm. And if you can't, you'll be trapped here forever." We tried to fight back, but it was no use. The figure was too powerful, and we were no match for it. It toyed with us, making us believe that we had a chance of escaping before crushing our hopes again. As the minutes turned into hours, we realized that we were never going to escape. We were trapped in the Enigma Room forever, at the mercy of the figure that controlled it. And as we sat in the darkness, we could hear the figure humming its otherworldly tune, a constant reminder that we were not alone in the room. Days turned into weeks, and we lost all sense of time. We were trapped in a never-ending nightmare, with no hope of escape. The figure would visit us every so often, taunting us with false promises of freedom before disappearing again. We tried to keep our spirits up, but it was hard. We were hungry, tired, and scared. We had no idea what was happening in the outside world or if anyone was looking for us. One day, the figure appeared again, but something was different. Its skin was paler, and its eyes were dimmer. It looked weaker, and we could sense that it was not as powerful as before. "I am losing my strength," it said, its voice barely a whisper. "But you will not escape. I will make sure of that." It disappeared, leaving us alone in the room once again. But this time, we noticed something different. The door was open, and we could see a faint light coming from outside. We cautiously approached the door, not sure if it was a trap. But as we got closer, we realized that it was not. The figure had weakened, and the door was no longer locked. We stepped outside, blinking in the bright sunlight. We were free, but we were not the same. The Enigma Room had changed us, and we would never forget the horror that we had experienced. We reported what had happened to the authorities, but they didn't believe us. They thought that we had made up the story to cover up something else. We tried to tell them that the Enigma Room was alive, but they dismissed us as crazy. We never spoke of what had happened again, but it haunted us for the rest of our lives. We never forgot the figure, the humming tune, or the feeling of being trapped in the Enigma Room. And we never tried another escape room again. Thank you for joining us for another bone-chilling horror story. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Remember, this has been a Horror a Day where nightmares come to life. If you want to keep the terror alive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Also make sure to leave a comment telling us what haunting tale you'd like to hear for a chance to be featured in an upcoming video. And don't keep the fear to yourself, share our videos with your friends and family. After all, nightmares are better shared. Until next time, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Good night.